Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Ask Yuri. I'm your host, Yuri King. Alright, today we're going to be talking about food combining. Somebody asked me if I could put a video together on food combining, so here we go. Food combining is a principle that takes into consideration that your stomach, your body, has different digestive environments, and different foods have different digestive requirements. For instance, proteins need a very acidic environment to be digested properly, whereas carbohydrates need more of an alkaline environment for their enzymes to work on digesting carbohydrates. So the dilemma is that, let's say you have a starchy carbohydrate plus protein meal like steak and potatoes. There's a compromise because the digestive solutions for both of those combine and kind of neutralize each other. So as a result, you don't digest the food as properly. Or as well, think back to, and again, the best way to experience this is just to have that meal, and you'll see that it weighs you down, it makes you feel tired, and unless you have a very active or hyperactive stomach, which very few people do, except for my aunt, who's probably the only person I know in the world who does, most of us will have a tough time digesting those type of foods in conjunction with each other. So you want to look at how to combine your foods for optimal digestion. So I'm going to give you just a few simple food combining principles. The first food combining principle is that you want to separate your starchy carbs from your proteins. So instead of having meat and potatoes, have potatoes or meat, right? Obviously, I don't really recommend eating both. I'm not a huge fan of meat, but let's say you want to have a piece of fish. Instead of having fish and rice, have fish and greens, right? Leafy greens can pretty much be used with anything. Not only do they help balance the pH of the meal by bringing a lot of alkalinity in, but they're a little bit easier to digest than some of the starch or carbohydrates. So a protein and greens is a great combination. A starchy carbohydrate and greens is another great combination. So you could have a potato, maybe some quinoa, and some green vegetables. So that's another great option. You can also do maybe some quinoa with some black beans and some green vegetables. Those are really kind of great combinations for optimizing your digestion. So basically you want to avoid starchy carbohydrates with proteins, complex proteins. It's very tough to digest. The other thing is you want to avoid eating fruit right after your meal. I know this is very common in the Mediterranean cultures where they have fruit right after their meal. And it's one of the biggest things that leads to bloating and fatigue. The reason for that is because it takes a couple hours to digest heavier meals, especially protein-based meals. And if you put fruit right on top of that, everything's sitting in your stomach. And the fruit digests very quickly. And because it's higher in sugar, it'll just sit in your stomach and begin to ferment. And as a result, you're going to get that bloating and that gassy feeling. So you want to wait at least an hour to have fruit after your meal. But even better is start your meal or have fruit on its own or before your meals. You'll get a lot more enzymes that'll come in and help digest the meals that are coming in afterwards, and you'll reduce the fatigue and bloating and gas that happens with eating fruit after a meal. The third thing is you want to avoid drinking a lot of liquids with your meals. A lot of people drink a lot of pop, water, whatever it is with their meals. What I recommend is drink some lemon water before your meals, because that will help to get your digestive system going. It'll increase the acid production in your stomach, which will help digest your food. And then throughout the meals, just take sips of water, right? I wouldn't recommend drinking high sugar drinks, because again, the sugar is going to sit in the stomach, and it's not good. It's going to compromise the enzyme function and not allow your body to digest as well as it should. So just sip on water every now and then throughout your meal. And don't drink a lot of liquids with your meal, because what happens there is it's diluting all the digestive fluids in your stomach, and that's obviously going to compromise your ability to digest properly as well. So those are just some basic food combining principles. If you want the full enchilada, the whole deal, grab my Eating for Energy program. The website is eatingforenergy.ca. I go through some very, very specific stuff in the program to show you how to improve your digestion through food combining, through food sequencing as well. And both of those principles are really, really important for improving your digestion, and digestion is really the cornerstone of health. When our digestion is faulty, that's where things start to go really, really kind of down the drain. So I would highly recommend checking that out. And in the meantime, just start off with these basic food combining principles, and they'll make a big difference for you. So thanks again for the question. and I'll see you in the next episode.